Hello, these are my crazy contemplations, not scientifically put, and so haphazardly about God and evidence of God, problem of God. If there is an absolute God, could there be a problem? The problem is in us, then. And regarding sufferance, I'll come to that. Children dying, infants dying, suffering, whether suffering or they have cancer or they have other diseases or polio or things like that. So religion, thinking of what religion has done and how I got to this conclusion that religion may have misguided us about God. Maybe they all tried and the scriptures are messed up. The people who guided us are supposed to be present at this moment with us, every moment and every moment, to guide us, but they went away. The only religion is, if you look at the Hindus, they have their gurus, and there's a lineage also of gurus. Then we have in Shia religion, we have not that Imam Mahdi will come, just appear out of nowhere, but that it is a continuity of the Prophet Muhammad's succession and the representative of God. So if we have that, a guide, why do we need a guide? We need a guide for some reason. So we have to, we're all interdependent, and as we grow older or wiser, we learn through experience, and we can guide others through our experience, I guess. Our children, others' children, who are younger to us. So some mistakes we have made and all this, so we need a perfect man to guide us if there is a God. Let's find out if there is a God. The problem of God is in our mind. And electricity, for example, I'll just jump here and there. This is a crazy contemplation. I also have the search for the truth and universal truth and ultimate truth, if there is any. So I know there was a miracle in my life that I could not find a reason for how it all happened. Maybe there was a whole conditioning process which took place, and then in the end I was like, that's it. I've had enough. It's not working. I could see it, and seeing that it's not working, we've come to the end of the story. There's no more, or something like that. I mean, that's a bad example. But for 6 years, I went into deep depression, deep turmoil, deep hell. And I really didn't want to live without this teacher of mine that I loved very purely, with a pure heart. So as a doubter, as a skeptic, I would say, what kind of miracle is this that God gave me but couldn't give another? And sometimes others, I mean, he saved me from my attempts for suicide, killing myself. So there are people who commit suicide, die. So I often question that. And been through a lot, like I've also recently gone through AP, Apostate Prophet. He's uploaded a discussion, they call it the debate they had about whether God exists or not. And so I've gathered information from there too, thinking like who could God be, like what the apostate prophet said, that if he's open to evidence for God and miracles and all this, if we can explain it. So my mind is like this too. I wonder, although I cannot put it in words properly, so I'm sharing as a friendly discussion. If anyone is interested, are most welcome to listen. And then you can make your own video and contemplate. So one thing is that can God be a human being, or can he be electricity, like, or life? What is life? So life is here existence, movement, a certain movement, or is it more than movement, because we have spirit, we have breath, movement of breath, but we cannot control this breath much. I don't know if when I go to the Himalayas and learn yoga, true yoga from a yogi, maybe then I will be able to control my breath and leave my body when I want to, leaving the body. So all this is here in this world. We can do these things, we can experiment, and so this may sound crackpotish, crazy stuff, like I said, and my English is rather limited, mind is disturbed, being is frenzied, or being in this, which is it static? So I don't know if if God is like electricity, then electricity is electricity, and electricity cannot be a human being. We would get a shock if we put our finger in the socket, open socket. So is God the life giver? What is God? Is God something like electricity, which can only be electricity, electromagnetic energy? Or is it more than that? So through our limited mind, like the problems occur. And what I've learned from my religion is that God is not the problem. God is not the evil in this world. God is just. So God cannot be the problem. So I started to look into myself as to why we think God is the problem. And I'll come to that, whether God cares or doesn't care, and why does he give life to some people and then for a long time, and some he takes at an early age, infancy even. I'll come to that. It will all, I hope you bear with me and have patience. It's all haphazard, chaotic right now. So just gathering, contemplating, reflecting on whether God is the problem and whether there's any evidence of God, and whether there can be any evidence of God, or whether God can be a human being coming down and caring for us, whether he's stretching his arms and saying, you are all in my embrace, loving embrace, and I care for you. You are my children, or you are my creation. To say that if we are his children, then it would mean that he begets us. So that would be quite a, let's not complicate things. It would be quite complicated, like where was his wife? And so we have a mother god and a father god. So let's leave that. Maybe considering that, that he. So then we come to the cause and effect. So then God also had a mother and a father, and then it could go on and on and on. So the primal cause, so that's why just to be, not just to be, but it is illogical, irrational. We can't find the first cause. Like, where's the first? Who was the mother and father of God? So that's why this is a problem I've been thinking of. So is the problem here in the mind, or is God the problem? And then where's the evidence of God? So what is the mind? First we'll have to, whatever we have inside, right? Where can we start from? I can only start from the mind now, because we can do sums. We can learn how to do sums. 1 plus 1 is 2. So the problem, this is a problem. Someone tells you, what is 1 plus 1? And we have to add the 2, 1 and 1, to get 2. So, and if we get a 2, we say, oh, where did this 2 come from? So then they teach you that I got this 1, and 1 plus 1, we got the 2 from this. Very simple. So the thing is that the problem is here in the material world. And so why did God even create this problem for us? Or did we create it in the mind? Can't come from anywhere else but the mind. That's all I can think of. So this problem of God, to find anything, we've made life such a problem. We've made everything such a problem. To find a problem or to see the problem, where does it come from? It comes from the mind. Now I'm stuck here, and I leave it here for this problem, because the mind created this problem. How did the mind create this problem? Because the mind creates, I don't know how the mind created this problem. So the mind wants to know. The mind, is the mind the problem? So how will we get into this mind problem? So we hardly understand much. How can we even get to God, the absolute truth, if there is one? So the mind is limited. You can even break it down and go more slowly and reflect and slow down and say, yeah, God is not the problem, mind is the problem. First, what is the problem? You see, we say God is the problem, like I said. God is the problem. But is the problem God? And where does this problem come from? Problem. This question. Who is questioning? We have to ask ourselves. Who is the questioner questioning? And why is it questioning? Because many religions and reasons behind, you may have your personal reasons, atheists have their reasons, then we say there's no evidence of God. Atheists say this, and so that's why, and these religions have brought God, so God has become a problem now. Because each one in their own God, in their own religion, their own way, and we can't find a solution to life and unity. And there is unity, but there's harmony in life. But we as human beings are, with our small gods, fighting and wanting all this nonsense is going on, cruelty and all. So all these problems. Sorry, this was a message. So yeah. So this problem and the mind. So why can't God be? Another thing is you'll ask is why can't God be human? Like I've been asking, why can't electricity be human? There's a subtler energies that they are in us, but we can't be. They can't be human. So this is really terrible. Um, they can't be human. We think they can be human, but we are all one. There's oneness. Although we're not one with the material, I don't know whether this material things, furniture, can we be one with the furniture? So if everything was made out of man-made movement and all this, how do we simplify? If we simplify, maybe we can, then the problem will be solved. Simply put. So to come back to this, like how this pure awareness or whatever it is can come in the, we have this, we come from consciousness. Our mind has consciousness, conscious awareness of things and all. So, but pure awareness is pure awareness. You can't say it is human being, it is a human, it is this, it is that. It is just pure awareness. So like electromagnetic fields and all this. And there must be something in us that gives us that feeling. Whether we have cancer, whether we have heart problem, whatever we have, until there is life. This life here, and this is a time-bound body. So if there is any eternal thing that tells us that there's no end, we don't end, we are not finished. We don't finish. Sorry, excuse me. So we don't finish, no end, any evidence, numbers, infinity to infinity. So we're counting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go to infinity, right? There's a movement, there's an addition. So this is all something time bound in time, and this time goes to, it's infinite, infinite. Numbers will tell you. So the only thing we have right now is this life, breathing and awareness. And if you see that you are breathing, you exist, and you have awareness, and if you see there's no problem in this awareness, being in awareness, until a thought comes, time bound. So I guess this is the most important thing which we have missed, giving much importance to thought and all this. And then when this body leaves, then we don't know. But I guess this is where awareness is it. No, because the scientists have had problems with this pure awareness. They say, we don't know. Okay, we put the mind aside and all this. Muji Baba has done it. And many people have many people have seen this, gone there, done the invitation. Scientists would still not be satisfied with this kind of thing. Like, we don't know whether pure awareness comes from the mind, the body's, being alive, whether it's individual or whether it is a universal timelessness. Whether it's just that because the brain is alive, we are alive. Individually we have this pure awareness, right? But that's the mind thing, because you're using the mind. If you just put aside the mind, see, the mind is coming and saying, this is an individual thing. When we die, then the body is gone. Yeah, materialistically, we're gone. We can't get that life back. The life that I had, or you had, or someone had, as a certain name, person, personality, things they owned, things they did, relationships. So that is gone. Yet the mind, thoughts, brain dead, brain is also gone. So the individual self is gone. The lifespan of that individual is gone. But then life comes again. There are new things coming, new births taking place. So in this body, can we say this self, which is pure awareness, or only pure awareness, that is that gone when we die? Can we say that? Do we have evidence that when we die, our brain is dead, our body is dead, not functioning anymore, breath is gone, vital signs have stopped? Can you say that this individual that was with this, It was aware, and awareness was just in this individual, and every individual life, human being has awareness. So everyone, common factor, not human. Simplify to something which is, we can see, may not be time bound, may be timeless. The only thing we can reach close to is this pure awareness. So this pure awareness, life, the birth's happening, new life comes. So can we say that this life, what really is? What's the importance? How to live this life? What the mind is telling us to do, the temporary things, it is good for this life. But that children dying, new births will take place. Can you say that if a child has cancer, we're part of God, and so God also has, that part of God has cancer? No. So, nothing affects God actually. Otherwise, he wouldn't be God. So, can life be God? And we have, like my religion said, that we are ungrateful people. We don't count our blessings, or we've missed something. Could we have missed something here? Okay, our life is temporary here as individuals, but that something good about this religion of mine. In the Quran verse it says God is ever living. Can we find that ever living God? Because if God is ever living, if he came in human form, so we had all these reasoning that that's why God cannot be one human being. But the others have not realized. Maybe another person can debate about this. If once you become God realized, then you are God. Or are you God in human body? So all these things so confusing. So we just like what Muji Baba does is just tells us to put this mind thoughts aside and just see this. And then people have asked whether this is an individual. Scientists would ask, no, we don't believe in this because it still doesn't prove that it is only an individual has awareness, life. So how can we prove it to this mind? Scientists, scientific mind, and those atheist mind, that we need tools, we need substantial, like whatever you say about God, right? He's caring, he's compassionate, merciful, this, that. Is this mercy evolving? It keeps going on and we don't see it. We don't see the mercy of God in the cancer, children dying young, the sickness. But there must be something which is unaffected. Then we have to, the onus definitely is on us who say that God exists. So how to show you that God is all caring providence? How could you make all this like, I was also wondering one day I was looking at on TV, it is an immense space, grass and land, vast land. I mean, things unexplored by human beings as yet. And what is all this space and galaxies and all this? Without us even being able to touch the tip of it. All this. Did he create all this? Is this all created for vain things? Or are they working in a way that we can't see, but they are doing their job? And if the grass is growing somewhere where it is unhampered, unexplored, that it too has some significance in life. This vast space, these trillions of galaxies, or I don't know how many billions of galaxies created, all this for vain, for nothing. So much. When you look up to the sky, and here we feel like microscopic, oh my God. But what is the use then of looking up to the sky? All this vastness in vain. The rocks, the creatures. Or do they just exist and not ask, why do I exist in vain? So this definitely should not come from the mind, because they don't ask these questions. This vastness of space, trillions, God knows how many billions of galaxies, and so much land, vast land, unexplored deep seas, unexplored, so much water unexplored. Does it ask, why do I exist? Who is God? Oh God, why did you make me? I'm in vain. So the problem could be here in the mind, because they exist in harmony or something, and that harmony, that existence, that our minds cannot touch. Our minds cannot touch. And we think they are in vain, useless. So, no, our minds would get tired, will not be able to go there, to infinity, counting. If you count, you'll die. You won't be, what I mean to say is that if you start to get to the infinite number, you may not be alive by then. Right? So I put my question, rephrase my question. So you will not, my statement. So you will not be alive, neither will I. So why this infinite numbers? Does it tell you something? That life will go on until infinity. Doesn't that tell you that life is important? Ever living. Then we come to like simplify, simplify. So this life that everyone has here is one life in different bodies, different frames, different things, animals, plants, and so life is eternal. So until we are alive, not what the mind has made, but what exists. If you look at the grass, it exists. A patch of grass doesn't have any reason to exist, doesn't have any utility. Wild plants exist. They just exist. And to question this existence, the problem comes in. Why do they exist? For what? So where is the problem? They exist. The problem is in you. The vastness exists. Trillions, billions exist. Galaxies exist. They don't have a problem. They don't ask the reason why I exist. And what is all this for? In vain. God created all this and he said. So maybe religion aside, just logically thinking, it would make sense that if we put our minds aside for, then maybe there's another way of looking at it, seeing. Maybe we haven't looked at it that way. So be open to looking at things in a different way. Because the mind is creating this problem. Why do we exist? Sometimes we ask, why does that thing exist? So we come from a religion that says that everything exists for a purpose. I created it, and so God doesn't tell us about trillions of galaxies, but they exist. So we will leave the religious way aside and just look at it maybe like this, or your own way you can. But I'm very passionate about this. I need to know what this is. My search will go on. So if something exists in vain, to what? What in vain? Oh, who is thinking? The grass exists without a reason, let's say. Without any utility, it exists. So who is saying that this? The creator, or however it came? Who is saying that it? Why does it exist like this and so much? Who is the one saying it? Me. And did I create it? No. Did this mind create it? Can it create that? No. So even just take the vain things that exist and we think they have no use. But they exist, life is life. And they will go when they have to go. Why can't we be like that? And just let providence, the unbound abundance, take care of what has come out of it. And let put this mind to rest for now and just exist for a moment like a blade of grass without asking why. So in this life there's a lot of chaos, diseases, sufferance, evil, harm. But from one moment we can say that I exist and be happy about this. Can we be happy just in this being? And isn't the being just being is without questioning, without the mind interfering, without anything? So it is timeless. And we found in us this timelessness, this beingness, and just nothing but being. So life will, maybe you don't know it, it corrects itself. Things happen and it moves in different directions. And we get diseased and diseased, which they say is actually diseased without ease. But it is enough, we should say. We should or shouldn't come, but isn't this enough that we exist? Haven't we made too much out of expecting too much from this existence, this life? So just go with the flow like the river goes with the flow, runs into the sea, and ask no more, right? Let your mind be at ease and see this as eternal being which does not question but is. And this is how far I can come to pure awareness being, and that's all. And I think the mind has made a big problem and saying that God, this providence, nature takes care. If it wants a hurricane will come. Are we fearing something? We're always asking, well, God did this, and so you say God did it. Well, there's a scientific explanation for a hurricane. This hurricane happened because the people were very sinful. The religious thing will go on. But before all that, can we see like this, without the mind seeing and being in this, seeing what we truly see, eternity, being without questioning, find out if this being is eternal or not. And if this is only in individual selves, or this pure awareness is vaster than what our minds make out of it. That is only in the individual self. And then when we die, it goes with us. And there's nothing really great about pure awareness. Sometimes, like I was wondering, that even the body heals itself if you give it time. Body can heal itself. There are some healing things going on. Maybe because they have found the healing power within themselves. So everyone can find that in themselves. We have used the mind so much. Maybe let just life be and then rot, because we'll get old, our bones will be this thing, right? They'll definitely rot in the grave. So everything, let everything just be. And with this, then we don't give too much importance to the mind. We make and we just let go. We make things, we live this, what we have to do for the day, for the moment, and we don't give much importance. But at the same time, let it take care of us and trust this, because this is providence, abundance, eternal. And there's healing inside of you. There are things happening you would not be able to survive. Life is so fragile, you know. If you have survived, it must be a miracle. Oh, I hurt myself so many times in sports, falling on the ground and this. But then some things heal by themselves. Some wounds heal by themselves. So trust. You just put a plaster, that antiseptic thing, to avoid the wound becoming septic. But it heals on its own. You have to have trust in that. You have to see it. You have to see that your body heals on its own at times. Some wounds heal on their own. How fragile life is, and yet we have survived in full peace. Some of us have it. We have scars. And yet the body has healed, but the scars have been there. So what is important? The outer appearance? Are you going to, like I would ask myself, am I going to all the time look at my scar and say, oh my God, but then my hands, I have other things to use. I'm always going to look at this scar and say, oh, I have this scar, I'm a defective. But there's so much to life than to look at this scar. Oh, I'm getting ugly now. So should I look at this ugliness and say, oh, I'm getting ugly. I'm getting ugly, getting ugly. I am ugly and I'm getting uglier. Okay, so am I going to spend my whole life grieving? Or so I have to question myself. Well, no, somewhere I've gone wrong here. Because I may be ungrateful for some things. Okay, there are people who have a perfect body, beautiful, attractive, and all this, handsome. And I don't have this, that. I'm becoming ugly. I have many scars on me, many spots, this and that. Am I going to spend my life? So something somewhere tells me that I'm wrong. I'm wrong to be living like this. All the time looking at my scars and spots. And, oh my God, I'm so ugly. My teeth are deteriorating. This is deteriorating. And then a part of me wants to be happy, look good, right? To be happy. Oh, we are working and then we say, until I get this, I will be happy. until I get the scar removed, I'll have a surgery, but I don't have the money now, so I can't do it. I'm not happy. I mean, does this make sense? You are losing your happiness for the scar. So it's all this mind problem. Something somewhere inside, now I realize it's the mind that has gone wrong. Something when we love someone, they don't have to be the most beautiful person in the world or the most handsome guy in the world, but that their soul, their being, something about them, their personality, their magnanimous, they are so magnanimous that you leave every defect of theirs and you just say, I accept everything. I accept your defects. I accept your weaknesses. You should be happy. What are you worrying about that you have this scar on your face, or you don't have a height, or you're not one of the most beautiful people in this world? So is it the outer appearance or the inner thing? The inner thing, right? That is important. How we see the other. When we love another, we can take them, accept them completely with all their weaknesses. Can't we do the same thing for ourselves? Just love ourselves and take all the weaknesses, all the ugliness, and accept ourselves as we are. So someone you loved, but they didn't achieve any. Suppose they were nothing. They were no one. No Mrs. Munira Gulzar principal, or just nothing. Would you love them still? So I asked myself this, and I said, yeah, I still love them. It's not because this person is a principal, or she has power, or she has knowledge, or she has overcome her problems, and she's showing me that I didn't even know, she was a table tennis champion. She really, what attracted me to this lady was her magnanimous nature, a good heart. Not what she has achieved. What will I do with what she has achieved? I'll get inspired, from her achievements, but I'm not going to love her achievements. I might get jealous of her achievements once I cannot reach those things in my life. So that would be the cause of envy. But if you've ever truly loved someone, without there being someone or achieving something, but just through the heart, just because they were kind at some time with you, or they had a good heart. A good heart is a very, very important factor. I think when I was young, I was driven to beauty in life, but I became self-conscious of beauty and all this too much, right? But if there is no beauty, you can still love someone. And so what was I saying now? Love someone without anything except that the kindness. Where would that come from? The mind or the heart or the soul of a person? Or maybe the conditioning of a person. So now we've reached a little bit to the heart, to love without without being impressed, just impressed by the achievements or inspired. So that's why Mrs. Munira Gulzar was the principal, and she wanted to help me to go further in life, inspire me with her success stories and how strong she was as a woman. She would fail because I did not love her for that. And then the mind pattern she was coming from, thinking that I love her for that she was the principal, she had a position, she was a table tennis champion, she was Miss Tissot's student, the teacher I die for, to be with, just our present companionship. And, things like that. So, and she had these inheritance problems. She took her father to court. She was the only daughter who could take her father to court. Old man. So, our success story, if she had showed off like this and said, oh, well, I did it, and why can't you do it, and all this. But the heart, matters of the heart, like oh my God, that empathy for another. So maybe this is the greatest gift that creation has given us. So for the moment, let's forget God. Let's acknowledge this gift, right? That God has given us love, pure love. No need. Not because of I need Mrs. Munira Gulzar. That's why I love her. Because maybe she needs me, and that's why I love her. So now we're coming to reincarnation. Maybe way back then, she needed me. I felt it. She needed a mother, someone, and so I love her. So coming to reincarnation now and all the sentimental stuff, which is, I should not brush it off. It is very important, feelings of others. And for this feeling, someone brought me back. And who was that someone? Her need for me. I had to go that time. I had to die, and then I had to come back. Who chose the timing for me to come back? I wasn't aware of that. There was an awareness. People don't want to touch on this reincarnation. But because it is a personal experience, I don't want you to get boggled down with it, but this is just one I'm just sharing like this, so that you may know that something does exist beyond us, beyond time and space, to choose a time for death and a time for loss and a time for reunion in such a way that she didn't recognize me, but I recognized her, that I knew her. I felt it deep inside me, where, not in my mind, somewhere very deep, deeper than the mind, in some memory. That's the mind. So, okay, so the memory, yes. So there was this memory. What can memory do, really? Bring us back. Our desire. At that time, someone could have prayed and their mother passed away. So they prayed for their mother to get well, but their mother passed away. And so these are some things that people brush. We don't want to believe in this reincarnation nonsense and this and that. But I want to embrace everything. If you're with me, you'll have to have an understanding heart. And not someone who brushes away people's feelings, thwarts them. I feel we have more than scientific. So we are more than scientists, just, trying to find out what life is. We have feelings which scientists cannot measure. And forever this love, the scientists cannot measure and will not tell me, although this is a personal experience. Again, I'm telling you, if you believe in this providence, I'm not asking you, not believing, but just seeing, understanding what this providence is. Life will correct itself. One day, time for loss, another time for gain. If you see the reality of everything, and even more, the ultimate reality, without the mind, but in your being, feel it completely. Maybe there was a time when I couldn't emotionally understand to a great extent that I had to let go of Mr. Saha, that we had to separate. So there came a time when I said I had to surrender. Whatever the enemy or whoever misunderstood it was unjust, or whatever I could not understand in the beginning, they severed our ties and all this, resentful towards them. But they made me surrender. And somehow all that charm that had left my life came back in a way that I could live without anything, and whatever the world throws at me, live with it. The feeling I got that now, what can the world throw? What could be this devastating more than this? I've been through sexual assaults and all that dirty, filthy things in my childhood. Now what remains is one thing: rape. Gang rape that I hear about people and rape. So that could come also. So don't you think the mind has given too much importance to what we wear and how we look, instead of what is the basic necessity of life? We have disregarded, become extravagant, giving importance to petty things, and we've lost the true meaning of life itself, just life, living. And how should this life be living? But that life exists for a time being. And if we give too much importance, how much importance should we give? Because then we lose some individual lives. How much importance should we give to this individual life? See, the mind, if we start thinking, we will, okay, some people may arrive at something, scientists may say, take this for time, make a lifestyle like this and that. Doctors, we have now medical doctors saying these things. This is how you should plan your life, and listen, have these many glasses of water and this. I mean, it could go on, and I'm really sick. I mean, I feel like I can't. So I'm just taking a moment at a time. since Ms. Tissa told me, and I was reading a self-help book, not to the future, because when I looked to the future and saw Ms. Tissa without Ms. Tissa, I could die. I just felt like dying. I would kill myself, but I wouldn't die. So the memory would kill me. Future, Ms. Tissa without my life, the future. But here, at this moment, when Ms. Tissa told me, take a moment at a time, then maybe that was the calming moment of my life, where a miracle took place for me that I thought was a miracle. And I could let go of Ms. Tissa. So too much in the future, are we giving too much importance to the future? But I thought I was giving much importance to the now spent with Ms. Tissa. Any minute, any second, without spending it with your loved one in love is a crime, is a sin. Okay, now we've got here, I've got here. Now, excuse me, I'll just end this. I'm tired. I wish I could, but when God comes in and you don't think much, it is being and action, I think, and that trusting that the river, but you will say we're not the river, but our life. We are going somewhere. It is like a river. We are not the river, but it is all a movement. Life is a movement. And so how should our life be moved? By jobs and success in this world, or by that one movement of love, empathy, compassion, caring for others and ourselves? How should our lives be moved? Okay, so now this is where I feel God comes in. Pure awareness, and no scientist can ever find this. Keep searching, the mind will evade it. Okay, thank you very much. I will continue with this later.